He called his dad every single day. Then, silence. When his father finally broke into that apartment himself, he found blood smeared across the walls, and no furniture, no clothes, no trace of his son anywhere. Subscribe to Case Bureau right now, because what investigators found in her closet next will leave you stunned. In the fall of 2024, a Cleveland man named George Cox Jr, known to his family as June, went silent. He was 32, a father, and someone who called his own father almost every day. That daily contact simply stopped in late October. His phone went straight to voicemail on every attempt. By November 8th, his mother had reported him missing to Cleveland police. His father drove in from Detroit, tracking his son's last known phone location to an apartment building on Bosworth Avenue. What he found there would turn a missing persons case into something far more serious. George Sr. reached the apartment before officers processed it formally, and the door was unlocked. Inside, the unit had been stripped nearly bare. A sofa sat cushionless in the living room, a matching footstool beside it, and only scattered items remained in the kitchen. Whoever had lived there, and whoever had left, had cleared the space out almost overnight. But scattered across the floor were dark, smeared stains, the kind left behind when someone tries to clean up evidence rather than simply spill something by accident. It was enough to bring detectives back to the building immediately. Once inside, investigators confirmed the same disturbing details. Suspected blood-covered sections of the floor ran along the baseboards and reached up onto the walls. Smaller spatter marks continued into the hallway and onto interior door handles. The pattern suggested movement, an injury that hadn't stayed contained to a single room. Within hours, the case was reclassified from missing person to homicide. Investigators applied luminol, a chemical that reveals blood invisible to the eye, and the reaction throughout the apartment confirmed there had been far more blood present than anyone could see on the surface alone. The next problem was identity. Records showed the apartment wasn't leased to June or anyone connected to him. It belonged to a man named Ezekiel, who was already incarcerated, his mail piling up untouched. The landlord identified a woman he'd seen coming and going as Diamond, but sent investigators to the wrong building at first, pointing them toward a different address down the same street. That woman was Diamond Vaden, June's girlfriend of roughly 4 years. Both families described the relationship as toxic, though Diamond herself insisted it was passionate rather than violent, dismissing past conflicts as ordinary disagreements. Diamond's mother offered a starkly different account, describing a volatile young man who had, in her telling, smashed out windows on her car and her house during past confrontations. She said her daughter grew increasingly isolated once the relationship began. Investigators also noted June's own history, including a prior domestic violence allegation involving a previous partner. None of it confirmed what had happened inside the apartment, but it established a relationship carrying real, documented tension, and a woman who told police without hesitation that she had never once set foot inside that unit. That claim collapsed almost immediately. 2 days after the crime scene was discovered, Diamond gave a formal interview and repeated her denial. Minutes later, she called the landlord, who happened to still be on the phone with detectives verifying her story. He looped her directly into a 3-way call without her knowledge. Investigators listened as she coached him on what to say and told him plainly that neither of them had anything to share with police. It was no longer a misremembered face. It was a woman actively managing what a witness would tell investigators in real time. Around the same time, police closed out a separate theory that had circulated since June first disappeared, a persistent claim that he'd been picked up on an out-of-state warrant and was simply sitting in custody, awaiting extradition. It was plausible. June did have non-violent warrants elsewhere, but a check confirmed he wasn't being held anywhere in the country. With that explanation gone, and Diamond already caught lying about the apartment, investigators expanded their search to the residence where she actually lived, a few doors down, leased to a man named William Rogers, who gave full access. That search produced the most damning evidence yet. Investigators recovered a mop and bucket with suspected blood, a revolver hidden beneath a mattress, and a pair of boots sitting out in the living room. Luminol testing on the boots revealed a substantial amount of blood, and the boots matched Diamond's size, not William's. Confronted with this, she didn't deny the blood could be there. She insisted only that she hadn't hurt June herself, and that if she had helped clean up after someone else, she wasn't admitting to any part of it. By this point, investigators had already swabbed extensively throughout the original apartment. Door handles, bathroom fixtures, closet doors, kitchen surfaces, all sent for DNA testing. If Diamond's DNA came back from inside a unit she had repeatedly denied ever entering, there would be little room left for explanation. Those results, along with confirmation of whose blood was on the boots, remained pending as the investigation continued to develop. As it stands, several questions remain open. The DNA results have not been finalized, the blood on the boots has not been formally matched, and George Cox Jr. himself has still not been found. A second-hand report of a U-Haul truck near the building the day after his last known contact was never definitively confirmed. What is certain is that a father who called home nearly every day went silent in October 2024, and the apartment his family found afterward held evidence of something no one has yet been able to fully explain.